Alright, real quick, time for another devlog, and I know it's been, like, comparatively, that there was a long time in between devlog number 18 and devlog number friggin' 19. I know there was comparatively a lot longer of a gap between those two, but whatever. As in literally, like, 3 weeks. But whatever. This is devlog 20, let's jump into it. One thing to note. Almost nothing in this devlog is currently in the public build. The only one thing in this devlog, kind of, is consistent with the public build that I've added, and that's how Gomez works now. Gomez now has stat differences from Thomas. Now, the stat differences between the two, I did change this in the public build, the stat differences between the two in the public build are not the same stat differences as in this video, but there are now stat differences between the two. The reason those stat differences are not the same between the two is if I go into stage 1 here, you can see I move faster and jumping mechanics have changed. So that's why they're not the same differences. That's why the differences between the two aren't the same in this build as in the public build, because the public build is still using the old jumping and movement for Thomas. So Gomez moves faster than Thomas in both builds, but it's a different percentage of moving faster, because every single character's speed has been buffed. If I go into Gregor's current speed, not on the map screen, but in stages, because the map screen has a fixed speed that's the same between characters, but if you look, you may or may not notice this, but his speed right now is actually 0.5 faster than what Thomas's original speed was, what Thomas's speed was in all the previous devlogs, and what Thomas's speed is currently in the public build. If we go into Thomas, he moves significantly faster. And if we go into Gomez, you may be able to notice a difference in how fast he's going. Another difference is, these differences do apply. As you can see, his basic moves faster. It's almost instantaneous. And you kill the enemy, whatever. But not kill the enemy, frick, but you knock back the enemy. Basically, Gomez's basic does more knockback. Same amount of damage, but it does more knockback than Thomas's basic. The kick does the same amount of knockback, I think, as the basic versus Thomas, where the kick does more. The same thing applies with the bash. The bash is actually, the bash animation is slower for Gomez, and the recharge for it takes longer. When you ground pound, you actually go faster, but you do less knockback. The knockback for the air bash on the ground is, not air bash, but the knockback for the bash on the ground is 10, which is what it is in the air for Thomas, and the knockback for it in the air is 8, which is what it is on the ground for Thomas. So those two are flipped. The basic also moves faster as an animation. Not only can you do it, is the recharge faster, but you know, the animation itself is faster. And as you can see, you can kind of move while doing it, but whatever. You can actually jump not as far anymore. You can't jump as far anymore. Because of how the jumping has changed. Everything is still possible, it's not that big a deal, but whatever. Now if we go down here, you can see that the Bone Hermits still kind of follow you in the air a little bit. I've fixed how they operate, so they aren't as stupid as they were before, but they're still very much not smart. So you don't have to be on the exact same y-axis as them, just close to it. So if I get too far away from them vertically, they will stop following me. But if as long as it's kind of on the screen, they should be fine, for the most part. And I've made some changes to Vindictus and Ossicold as well. I'm only going to show the changes to Vindictus, as the changes to Ossicold are literally the exact same, but whatever. And it's what happens when you beat Vindictus. Screen goes white, and it goes slow-mo. That will happen with every boss defeat from this point forward. Now, Vindictus does not, and Ossicold, they do not have unique death animations. Vindictus, what I'm thinking is I'm still going to have him fall off screen, but the head will not fall off screen. It'll stop falling when it hits basically the head will detach and start falling, but it will stop when it hits the ground, and the body won't. That's the plan for Vindictus. Ossicold, I have no idea. I'm just going to leave Ossicold as is, more than likely. And here's the thing. I'm going to go ahead and pick Thomas for this, but there's a third stage. The Mine. Under this mine is the Library of the Forsaken. A spellbook resides there with the key to breaking the seals protecting Blackmoor's castle. Blackmoor's forces are breaking into the mines in an effort to destroy this book. I know that consistency is stupid, and I've never read these stage descriptions on screen in this devlog series before, but whatever. Or at least I don't think I have, but whatever. This stage is still vastly untextured. There's very little textures to the stage at all, but whatever. It's done is the point, from a coding perspective. Besides bug fixes. So we have this scaffolding stuff that holds up the platforms that the friggin' crystals are suspended on. We have this crate here that is not breakable and is really friggin' big. Whatever. Probably gonna be mine carts littered throughout the stage too. There needs to be scaffolding on these, and you know, that first one and the third one there. I don't know if I've actually showed off a new Brock, but he functions identically to a Gruntus. But the thing is that a new Brock can't die. So that's how a new Brock works. You can still do damage to him, and he still has knockback, but he can't die. And yes, he does indeed do damage to you. I don't remember how much, because he's just kind of been sitting here doing literally nothing this whole time. Oh, and his AI is bugged out. I assume that means the Gruntus' AI would be bugged out too, where I changed how gravity works. So is the Bone Hermits, apparently. Okay. The Lacers, which are the blue enemies from Stage 2, and the bosses appear to be the only enemies that are functional. Which is fun. And I guess the crystals too, but they're ranged, so like, yeah. I'm gonna have to fix a lot of stuff, but whatever. So here's the boss of Stage 3, the Sentient Blockade Boulder. You know, the BM1 boss. It actually has 4 moves, which is a record for Knights. It doesn't really mean much, but whatever. His dash is a little bugged, where when it hits you, it stops going. And it will keep going for a little bit after hitting a wall. Like, he'll hit the wall, and then the animation will keep going. He won't keep moving in that direction, but the animation will keep going for a little bit. He's yet to use the 3rd move, which is interesting. And boss is beaten. He did not use the spin move once, but whatever. I had earlier today I found a bug where he just wouldn't use the spin move at all. I fixed it, so it still doesn't occur very often, but it does indeed happen. And I find it interesting that it just didn't happen at all there. But whatever, that's kind of all I have to show for this devlog, so yeah.